Today let us learn the structure of pollen grain. So what exactly is a pollen grain? Pollen grain is the male gametophyte. Male gametophyte. What do you mean by gametophyte? Gametophyte is a structure that has the gamete. So where is the male gamete? Male gamete is over here. Okay, so let us understand what all are present in a pollen grain. Please remember, pollen grain is not a cell. It is a structure containing two cells or three cells. Usually, it will have two cells, and therefore, in your NCERT textbook, there is a single line that states most of the pollen grains are, most of them are 60%, correctly. 60% of the pollen grains of the flowering plants are in the form of two-celled stage. Two-celled pollen grains they are. How many percent? 60%. Remember this. The rest 40% is three-celled. So what is it? Let's understand. So the pollen grain, like I told you, is not a single cell. So it has certain covers around it, certain walls around it, and there are two cells inside it. All right. So what are the layers around it? Let's see first and foremost. First and foremost, it has a thick outer layer called as the exine, E-X-I-N-E. Where is it? It's over here. It's a very thick wall around the pollen grain structure. Like throughout it is present, as you can see. Except for these places, it is covering the entire structure. Now, what is exine made up of? How is it? Okay, exine is E-X-I-N-E is made up of a particular polymer called as sporopollenin. Pollenin. This is very hard structure which it cannot be penetrated even with using any enzymes that are known to us. Alright, so it is resistant to acids, alkalis, etc. So what makes it resistant? It is a sporopollenin. Now inside to this there is another wall, like you can see here. This wall is continuous. There are no gaps at all. This wall is called as the intine, and this is made up of cellulose. What is cellulose? As you know, all the cell wall is made up of cellulose in case of plants, and pectin. So these are the two components of intine. Exine is made up of sporopollenin, intine is made up of cellulose and pectin. So now in case of intine, as you can see, it is a continuous structure, but exine is discontinuous at times. So there are gaps through which the whatever is inside can come out. Let's say whatever is inside. All right. So these spaces or the spaces between the exine are called as the germ pores. Germ pores. Again, inside the pollen grain, let's go inside and see what is inside. There are two cells. What are the names of the cells? The first cell is called as the vegetative cell or the tube cell. So what will be the purpose of it? Its purpose is making the pollen tube. So this is what is going to come out of these germ pores like so. The pollen tube, like from here, let us say, it will come out. In your lab practicals, you will be doing this experiment as well. All right. So through this, the tube nucleus or the tube cell or the vegetative cell will germinate and come out. So this first cell that we are learning inside the pollen grain is called as the tube cell, otherwise called as a vegetative cell. Now, where is it present? It is taking up the entire structure. If you can see, 90% of whatever is inside the pollen grain is this cell, tube cell, having the tube nucleus. Right? What is the function again? Making of pollen tube. Done. Next cell, which is actually the hero of our story, is the generative cell. Generative cell. Generative cell is actually the one that contains the generative nucleus, or I'll use another color for this, generative nucleus or the male nucleus. Male gamete is the nucleus inside the generative cell. This much you should know with respect to pollen grain. I hope it is clear. I'll see you in the next video with megasporogenesis. Thank you.